August month is all about maximizing your influence. And yes, we talk about leaders being influencers, but here's a newsflash, folks. Everyone can be a leader. And so in this month, Roxanne and I are going to dive into a variety of different topics. And today's topic, we're going to start with the 4 key skills to strengthen your credibility and respect. All right.
Yes, we're back.
I know. I feel like I'm at the controls since this is like the second week that we switched. But it's kind of cool. Like I'm looking here, I'm going on LinkedIn. Is anybody on? No, what do I do? So anyways, I'm trying to like look at the camera. So today, and we got some folks that are already probably watching. I don't know, but hello out there. Welcome to the show today. We are now, if you haven't caught us, we have switched. We're experimenting for Tuesdays and same time, 12:15, but we switched from Wednesdays to Tuesdays. So we wanted to talk about influencers. So let's kind of talk about why. And we know the two of us are both game changers. And being a game changer, what is that? Is we are people that always have ideas that are coming about, see the possibilities, challenging the status quo, and always the what if kind of questions. And so when we look at organizations, or I would even say personal life, it's probably been a challenge most of our lives, is how do we influence others to see what we see already when you might not be there? And so we kind of asked our question. Roxanne and I were talking about that, said, you know what, we can't be the only ones out there in the world that want to feel like they have a voice, be heard, and feel that they can influence regardless of that situation. And has anyone ever talked about with the groups, in your leadership group that you have and the Lead for Legacy, of just being apprehensive about even the word influence? A lot of people think it's more of a manipulative, but it's not.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's it's interesting that that's the tendency to bring it there, to bring the discussion into that manipulative conversation and the discussions that we have in the league are all around, well, you're influencing anyway. How are you influencing? Are you aware of the ways in which you're influencing others? Because that's the thing. And you and I are both very big on leadership. As I like to say, leadership is all about legacy. It's not about hierarchy. And you and I are not about leadership that's connected to hierarchy, because we're all leaders in our own ways, in our own lives anyway. So how are we leading and how are we influencing? Because the reality is we are. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be, and it doesn't mean it's, you're only making it as good or as bad as your intention is. But sometimes the intention is subconscious anyway. So what are you going to do about that? So one of the things is definitely look at how you're influencing. And this is why the discussion today is going to be super important, because you need some skills to be able to do that consciously and feel good about it. Why feel bad about it?
Exactly. And here's a funny thing. I couldn't help myself. I'm like watching you talk, but look what I have.
Oh, come on.
Talk about subconsciously influencing. I got cold, but we actually have kind of the same color top on and same style top. So it's probably good I'm wearing my sweater right now. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist, folks. It's kind of funny. Yeah. So let's talk about our first topic. We got 4 skills to cover within our 30 minutes here. And we're going to run through and, of course, put our own little twist on it. So those of you who are watching right now, I'd love to understand, what are some of the things that you've been challenged on trying to get credibility and respect? Because this is really what it's about, is how do you become more credible and get the respect that you would like to have from others. And part of, again, this whole entire month, we're talking about the influencer series, and this is just the start of it. So let's get to it. So we used an article from the Creative Leadership as a idea bed for this topics, for today. And they had the 4 skills, and one of them that we're going to start with is the organizational intelligence. And that's really just, I would say, understanding your surroundings and your environment of the politics within. Because if you don't really know what you're stepping into, it does impact your ability to influence. What say you?
Yeah. And we talked about this when we talk about the environment in which we operate, right? This is exactly it, because you have to know, and we hear that a lot. A lot of people say, I don't like politics. I don't like the politics in the organization. Yes, I know. And yet you're such an important part of that. Like, people are the ones who make it. It's the system doesn't work without the people in it. So you're actually you're functioning in that system, in that environment. And you can either be passive and let yourself be influenced by whatever that environment gives you, or you can actually expand your circle of influence. And by the way, I have a book that I recommend on that, which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh, yeah.
Because Covey talks about expanding your circle of influence rather than letting it shrink. So you can be proactive and understand how the organization works, so that you can understand how you can move and what's the framework in which you can move. It's all about that. Think about it as, you cannot be a football player and play and then play basketball. Like, it's a different environment. There are different rules. There are different skills that you will need. So you have to know what the rules are.
Any system that you step into, and we always talk about systems of people, we talk about individuality so much, but the reality is we're a system of people. And think about, just even in personal, you go to a party, you go to events, there's politics even in that. I think when we say the word politics, we think of your traditional governmental politics or things out there, and we kind of go, ooh, yeah, I don't want that. But really, at the end of the day, it's just about people and the system that you're in, and having awareness of what you're stepping into. Because we have all these different people with all their different models of the world. And we're going to talk about that in one of our future shows about understanding the different models and languages to help create change. Hint, hint. But this one is so important when we talk about influence, is to have that intelligence. And so it's really taking a step back and really looking at the landscape. And the landscape could be, if you're in a team, it could be within the department, and then look what's actually happening in the entire company. Because a lot of times you may be working in a department or a team, and you're almost in a bubble, and you're not really seeing what the whole entire organization's like. And if you are an influencer, you do pay attention to what's happening outside of your bubble, because that's how you actually create influence, is to go beyond.
Exactly. Go beyond and understand what, if anything, you need to challenge and how you're going to do it. Because sometimes, staying in that bubble is that, okay, let's just do things the way we've always done them because it's always worked. And then when things change, you don't realize that they do, and you keep doing the same things the same way, which doesn't help you anymore. So going outside and being aware of any changes and asking those questions, or
And
even why are we doing this way?
And this isn't always easy. So I'm just going to get real on the reality, because sometimes you might be in an environment that you feel that you're swimming against the current. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about organizational intelligence, you can have that awareness, you can work through it. But if you get to a point, and I just kind of want to throw this out there, if any of you are experiencing that you feel like you're swimming against the current and you feel like you're not going anywhere. Right? You're trying, you're doing what you can, but you just feel like you're just swimming and swimming, and the island still feels miles away, right, to the destination you're trying to go. And so when we talk about this, it's more about that awareness and working to how to influence, but it also depends on the environment. There is a point where it might not be a natural fit. Yeah. And you just get worn out if you're swimming against the current all the time. So this is where value system, and this is why I want to bring this up. When I saw this organizational intelligence, I had to think beyond. This is a combination of the environment and then the value system, either within the organization or your personal core values, that if there's this conflict always happening, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are of understanding the organization and trying to influence, you just may be in the environment that's not well suited for you. So, exactly. But this is taking the attempt to understand it first before you even make that decision. Because if you haven't really tried and really gone there, I would say you might not have really exhausted, because a good influencer takes the time to figure that out.
And to try and get that experience. And actually, I had the discussion in the league with one of the league members, and we were saying, okay, let's see how much this brings you a wealth of experience and how much this is useful for you as an experience in growing as a leader, and seeing how you can grow and influence others the way that you want to do it, and how much this becomes a waste of time and a lot of frustration. Mm-hmm. So when it's that at some point you realize, hey, I tried and I've done my best, but that's it. I've reached that point where I can see that I can't move anymore, so I have to go and move somewhere else. Because this is too frustrating, and it's not helping me grow, and it's not helping anyone on the team grow. So
we're ready to go to the next one here. So this is all about team promotion. And this is the gist of just cutting through the noise. And this is where we talk about authenticity. I can't say the word there. And that credible promotion of themselves. And this is not a selfish promotion of yourself. This is really working within the good of the organization and positive intent. What we mean by that is that if no one, it's almost like, have you got out there to even know if people know who you are, what you do, and the difference you can make? And so I experience this a lot and I think it's harder for some that may not feel confident, or they might be more of an introvert of getting out there and speaking up. Mm-hmm. But this kind of goes around that, is being an influencer is getting uncomfortable and stepping out to where you cut through that noise, but you're very authentic to the messages of how you're promoting something. And so when we talk about team promotion, it's really all about that voice getting through in an authentic way, right?
Yeah. And it really helps to think about it, what I find, because a lot of the new leaders that I talk to are uncomfortable with this. Maybe they would have, when you've just been promoted to a more formal leadership role, sometimes you almost feel guilty about it, towards your former peers who are now maybe your subordinates, or maybe you've never been in that position where you actually can promote the whole team or need to promote your actions and results. And this is why I'm saying, look at the results that you're getting, look at the actions that you're taking, because the reality is you might know what you're working on, what you and your team are working on. You might know what your results are. Don't assume that everybody else does. Assume they don't know anything, and you're just letting them know what's been going on, what's been happening, and how you've contributed. And if you think about it from this perspective of, this is how the team contributed, this is how I contributed, and these are the results, and how can we move even further, then it changes the discussion. And that's particularly helpful for people who feel uncomfortable. And really, I find it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, because like, if you haven't been in the position before where you promote yourself and your work, like, you at the beginning it feels uncomfortable. But if you look at it from this perspective of service and results and moving things forward, then it helps you feel more comfortable. And really, it's all about that, because you're talking to other teams.
This goes in a combination of where you have a lot of people really more on an output, like what are the things that I do versus
Yes.
Outcome.
Yes.
And driving to those results. Some find that more natural than others and gravitate towards that. I would call it more goal oriented. Yep. Now, the other half of it is really understanding the models that, and that's what we're going to talk about in the upcoming shows throughout this month. It's funny because all of these skills, I looked at them and I said, well, there's so much more to it, because how are you understanding all the different models of other people? And so all our different topics that we have this month kind of peels this onion further about this, because this team promotion, you have to understand what other people are and what they care about to switch them over to promote what you're actually trying to influence. So there's a knack to understanding this. So when we talk about developing the skill to team promote, you need to understand how to do it. And that's why I think we're going to talk about that more even next week in our subject of how to get your ideas across. And so I loved this one because promotion is not the selfish thing. Promotion is what we talk about a lot in personal branding. So that's a great start is your own personal branding is how are you branding yourself out there, right? That's self-promotion, but it's in a positive way. Because we're all about making an impact, which we have at the top here. How, what's your business impact? And if everyone knew what their best impact is to make a contribution, this team promotion and self-promotion and all this topic becomes a lot easier, because you're more confident on what you can and cannot do, right? Or what you want to do, in truth.
Yeah. And you understand how you can promote yourself more authentically in a way that feels good rather than in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable.
And let's do a quick, I'll do a quick share, is that when I did my Game Changer Index profile and we talked about this measures your impact, which is an organometric, which is out there. It's not a psychometric. It's all about measuring impact, folks. Whole other topic probably for another show. If you guys are interested, put in the comments. But when I found out that I was this game changer strategist, it really changed and opened my eyes for me to go, wow, that makes sense. Is if people really truly want change and they want to see different ways of doing something, I'm your person. And that's where I can make a positive impact in those situations. And when I step into these situations, I would say there's now this natural confidence coming from, I don't think it was there before, going, yeah, that's where I truly know how to make an impact. If we're talking about how to do something and it's this like the implementation, I get really bored and I wonder why I don't tune in as much. And before I used to try to do something, but I don't try as much anymore. What I actually do is I look around the room and see who else can make a better impact than me. And I channel that through them by maybe encouraging, because maybe they're not stepping forward, or just maybe encouraging just in general, saying, hey, I need your help, right? I think that's a great thing to say. So when we talk about team promotion and promoting yourselves, it's such a great positive thing to do it in a way that helps others as well.
So we have Ellie who says, I'm very interested to hear more about the Game Changer Index. So Ellie, feel free to DM us and we can take it from there. Like, you can definitely connect with both Veronica and I, and we can have a chat about it if you're interested.
Yeah, we always we talk about it on the show, but we don't always do it every single time. But it's a awesome business tool that's out there today that can align with a lot of things. But now
it's interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned it, because everybody that I talked to who took the Game Changing Index, the assessment, and then we had the discussion, they all say, I've had many assessments taken, but this one is the most accurate that I feel is the most accurate for me.
That's why we don't call them assessments.
Exactly. And that's why I said it's like, this is the tool that helps you understand how you're making your best impact. And it explains a lot. And you find yourself saying exactly what you said. Oh, so this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm saying. This is what I've always done. And now it makes sense, because it doesn't make you feel bad anymore that you're not good at maybe processes and implementing, because you realize where you are good and what you are bringing to the table and what people actually always valued you for. And it just makes sense all of a sudden, and it helps you. I've had this question from somebody I was talking to, and he was like, oh, so now it would make sense for me, he was a game changer and strategist, and to work with somebody who's an implementer, right? Or who has some implementing impact. And I said, yeah, it's complementary, and you're both using your strengths, and it just goes very well together. So it's always great to hear people coming up with their own conclusion, because it's that easy to understand. It just sheds a light on everything, and it makes sense.
But and connecting it to our influencer series, we're always about aligning to business outcomes and objectives. So we always are thinking about in that context. And then, where, when we talk about people, it just makes sense, because people are what are the drivers to actually get those results. So no matter what process you're using or whatever, I mean, even a process, if you're not clear of what your clarity on where you're going, right, and what you're focusing on, which is those outcomes, it doesn't make sense. So when we talk about organizational intelligence and the team promotion of the two skill sets that we're talking about, it's going to look different for maybe other people. Roxana and I are both game changer strategists. And so when we look at organizational intelligence, we're going to see the possibilities and patterns of how things connect with people that other people might not understand. And so when we're moving through the politics and getting things done and working with others, we are helping them see other ways to do something, which creates a level of influence for us. And how we promote that in the languages that we use, we're bringing others that might be more fixed and linear thinking to open up to a different way of doing something that they might not necessarily be. And so our level of influence is a game changer strategist. And when we talk about the next one of building trust, all our part of getting people involved and guiding them is always about doing something differently. It's always about change. And so as influencers, and again, you can share, that trust building, it's always channeled from change. And so this is why in this influencer section, you may or may not be a game changer so strong like Roxana and I, but if you understood the way you can influence, like I work with people that are influenced about excellence and standards, or they influence about how well they can think about getting things done. And so there's many different ways you can be an influencer just in each of these 4 skill sets. It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
So trust building in this section, this is the third skill set from this. Again, this is an article. We'll share the link. It is the creative leadership. I love their content that they create. So I figured we'd use it today. And this involved guiding people through risk and change and trust, right? People don't come along unless they feel they have trust. And this is all about rapport building.
Yeah. And this is big. And it's always going to be the missing piece when you're new to an organization, when you're the new leader of a team, when you're the new CEO that wants to gather a team together, or you're bringing more new people on the team. That takes time. And what we see a lot these days is people are looking for the fast track. So what's the fast track to this, and this, and that? And the reality is trust takes time to build, and it can be demolished very, very easily and very, very quickly. But what we've just talked about so far in terms of the 2 previous skills actually help you build trust. So if you understand the organization, how it works, the culture, and then you are able to move within that framework, that's one way, because you are going to be more seen and heard, and you will definitely make sure that you hear and see the people in the organization. And then promoting yourself and promoting your team, that's going to help build trust incrementally, because that very well connects with that authenticity piece. And people know that they can count on you. And you and I also talked about on previous shows about feedback and how important that is in building trust. And it's important for me to know that you're going to give me the good kind of feedback and also the bad. Like I want to count on you to tell me what's happening that doesn't work and that we need to change, instead of you being frustrated and maybe angry with me and not letting me know. It's like we use the example of, oh, you have something on your face or in your teeth and nobody tells you. And then the natural question is, why haven't you told me until now? Why did you wait until now? So build on that, build on your team, promote yourself, and feedback is one way to fast track the trust building.
And then we're going to talk about more about this building trust and the rapport when we go into some of the segments that we have this month. So I think we're going to touch on a little bit more, because next week we're going to talk about how to get your ideas across. I can't even remember the title. And then we have more on language and behavior in those models. We even talk about masculine and feminine energy, and all of this is related, believe it or not, about trust building, because this is understanding the models and styles of others, so you can effectively build rapport. So stay tuned on that. This is, again, a build upon. I'm excited by this month and the things that we're doing, because I'm hoping others out there can have some takeaway. And if you have any interest around influencing, and again, we are average, everyday people. So this is why I love this. And I have to kind of stress this. We are not psychologists. We didn't go to school for communication, like in the sense, or what did you go to school for?
No, it wasn't a communication.
I was a science teacher, but we don't have this background where some people like have all these things and wrote books and did this. We are average, everyday people that had this struggle, and we're sharing it back to you based on our years of experience and just things that we've figured out. And so I'm hoping that people get encouraged that everything is possible. And I think that's why this month is so important, because it's almost personal to me, because you get a lot of people that want to give you advice and they have all these accolades behind them. I'm saying, no, this is possible. You don't have to be this person that mastered communication or really understanding
Yes.
other people's models. If I can do it, you can do it, is my point. Now, here's
Yeah.
our last one: leveraging networks. So
I
this
love this.
one,
I love
so
this.
this is our fourth and final one. No
Yeah.
leader is on an island. So imagine that. So they are empowered by the connections with others. And so this is kind of doing away with that whole idea of the ivory tower thinking, where I love in Lean, where they talk about getting to the Gemba and being a part, but really understanding and that vulnerability. I can't do it without you.
Yeah.
I need you. And I think this is so powerful. The ones that get that, knowing that they cannot do everything themselves and they can leverage. I mean, most successful people will always say that they've learned to surround themselves. They love to be around people that are actually smarter and more capable than them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's the reason why they do that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how you learn and that's how you grow. And talking about fast track, that's the fast track to growing as well. Because if you surround yourself with, we really are the sum of people that we surround ourselves with. Maybe not the 2, 3 people, but I think all the people that we surround ourselves with. Because the reality is we learn from each other every single day. Like one of the best quotes that I heard about learning is movement from moment to moment. So wherever you turn, there's an opportunity for you to learn something. But for leaders, that's especially more important, and especially now, because there is no one who really made it all by themselves. They all had people around them that they worked with, and plus that's the right, the healthy way in which you will grow long term, and you learn from others that share the same kind of challenges, that can discuss the same kind of solutions. You can function in an environment where people don't judge you and they don't have any expectation from you, but you're in that exchange of information and ideas and solutions, and it all goes so well, which you can then take back and implement in your own team or organization, whatever the size of that is. But it's leadership is all about that shared knowledge and surrounding yourself with the right kind of people who are there to support you, because otherwise you get in burnout pretty quickly and it doesn't serve anyone. This is why I started the league as well, because they get a lot of support and a lot of learning that is less formal, but this is why it's more powerful, because it helps you with support when you need it.
So speaking of people leaders,
Exactly.
Now,
yes,
we have a survey that we're going to put in the comments of this broadcast. And if you can help us, and I don't know if you've can share maybe some of the insights that you've gotten so far, so people have an idea or about this. It's a short survey, and what we're trying to do is understand for people that are new people leaders, understanding what's important to you. What are some of those challenges? So do you have any sneak peek on that survey that you've seen so far?
Yeah, so what I've seen so far, and by the way, thank you to everybody who submitted the responses to the survey.
We'll have to share that in one show.
Yeah, some of the challenges come in, and I'm not surprised here, in the area of communication. How can we communicate better? And again, communication is so big.
Why we have the influencer series
that
this month.
Is like, exactly. But it's like, how can I get my point across better? How can I communicate more effectively with the team? It takes a lot of time for me as a leader to coach my team members, and I don't feel like I have the skills to coach them, which is, by the way, another thing that we will be talking about on the show. Because yes, you can definitely use coaching and mentoring as management skills and leadership skills.
any of you that are watching, if you and again, this is me, idea coming. Woo-hoo. So this month is our influencer series. Those of you that are interested in talking more about the modern leader and what does it look like to coach, those of you that might be interested in some aspects around that topic, let us know, because we're always, as my little plug, send us a topic that you're interested in, because we end up getting feedback, and this is why we have the influencer series. That one was, like I said, inspired by personal, but just knowing from feedback of talking to other people what's important to them. So send us a DM on that. So now, next week, continuing the influencer series is how to get your ideas noticed. So those of you that struggle, I have an awesome idea, but it always falls flat. Why? Why does that happen? And so we're going to talk about how to get your ideas noticed and getting that buy-in that you truly want. And so, because this is so discouraging for those of you out there that have great ideas and you're not sure how to get other people to either take you serious, get that credibility and respect that you deserve on those awesome ideas. And it's a shame, because what ends up happening, they get lost and never heard, and they could have really solved a great problem. And even
Absolutely.
and this is more of how to be an influencer, not waiting for a person to help facilitate it out of you. What we're trying to do is build up people so that you can influence yourself of getting those ideas across, and not waiting for someone to ask you, is my point. So
to ask you and to validate, like, I feel that happens all the time, where people have that need of validation, and if you don't get it the first time round, then you give up and you stop selling that idea. And as you said, that idea might be transforming and completely life-changing, but you just didn't get your point across properly, or you never tried to communicate it differently. So sometimes we just give up too soon. So
that's going to be next week. And what we'll do is we'll end up posting what the entire series is for this month, all the shows. We actually did that before the show and planned it out. We had to change a couple of ideas around, so we've got that covered now. But here's the thing. All of our shows, as you can see in the right-hand corner, is in the library of our Game Changing Work YouTube channel. And we are on 11 months. Woohoo! We are almost at our 1-year anniversary. We got to have like a kick-ass party.
Yeah, we will. Like, I'm telling you. Yeah, stay tuned and join the party. We'll let you know.
Those of you that are, again, I will put in for next week, we have the influencer. So the Game Changing Work Show is all about people-centered workplace and a performance culture. So this is really taking the aspect of when we talk about people and driving business results and all about customer centricity, all these things. But what we like is bringing the human to work in a sense of driving your business. And this is related to actually running a business as well. It's kind of that combined conversation where it's not just an HR thing, is my point. So we're trying to get across with everyone out there today. It is about people, right? So we are wrapping up.
Thank you, Billy Henson. Congrats on 11 months. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you have to come join the party. So yeah.
No, maybe we might have to dress up and have a theme. What do you think?
Yeah, we need to have a game changing.
I know we dressed up for Halloween. If you guys didn't see that, go to that show.
Yeah, we did that too. So
that was pretty funny.
We'll let you know what the costume is for this particular party.
Yeah. So we are going to wrap up now. And for next week, we're going to continue the influencer series. We're going to post what all of those are. So stay tuned. And again, help us help you. We're going to post that survey. And we will probably in the month of September share out those results, what we have so far. I think we'll have enough. I want to make sure we have enough to share for everyone. So we will see everyone next week, Tuesday at 12:15. Be there or be square.
And take care.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
Wait a minute.
Have an awesome
We gotta
day.
look the same. Ready?
Woohoo!
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, folks. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye now.